Doomed romantic narratives tell stories of lovers whose romances have fated to fail. These narratives have grasped readers in contemporary and past eras alike, through their abundance of intriguing drama. Robert Browning used the theme doomed romance in his poetry to craft dark and controversial dramatic monologues, such as My Last Duchess, which told a disturbing tale of death and madness, while commenting on the social structure and values of the English Victorian era. Contrastingly, Sarah Crossan and Brian Keoghan's novel We Come Apart tells the story of two doomed teenagers in modern-day England. The two authors bring together a couple who is then torn apart by issues relevant to today, such as racism, child marriage in foreign countries, domestic violence, and bullying. Browning's poem My Last Duchess is a doomed romance twisted with a commentary on powerful social classes and gender inequality of the Victorian era. The speaker in the poem, the Duke, describes his dead wife, the Duchess, to an unnamed listener. Throughout most of the poem, the Duke accuses his wife of not adhering to his control over her by smiling politely at other people, and thus his jealous and controlling personality becomes evident.
Oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt, whene'er I passed her. But who passed without much the same smile? This grew. I gave commands, then all smiles stopped together.
Although the Duke never admitted to killing the Duchess, he also never shied away from the implication that he did. Instead, the Duke's once elegant speech becomes a series of disjointed allegorical sentences, as he becomes absorbed in his own mind and disinterested in the listener's impression of him. He openly describes how his marriage turns sour from his jealousy, and therefore he displays his power over the listener. At the very end of the poem, it is revealed to the audience that the listener is a servant of the Count, whose daughter is expected to marry the Duke. The Duke describes the Count's daughter as his object, foreshadowing the fate of the Duke's new Duchess to be the same as the last. Meanwhile, in Sarah Crossan and Brian Keoghan's novel We Come Apart, the two lovers, Jess and Niku, are not doomed by madness and death like in Browning's poems, but instead are doomed by their families and societal assumptions and expectations forced onto them. Jess's once normal life is complicated by domestic abuse inflicted by her stepfather onto her mother. Terry makes me hold the phone and record every moment of him beating the crap out of her. That's my job. No, I never applied for it. Meanwhile, Niku's life was turned on its head when he moved to England from Romania and was suddenly exposed to the racism and bullying present in English schools. His situation at school is coupled with his parents' expectation for him to marry a woman he has never met, which then puts pressure on his and Jess's relationship and foreshadows their inevitable separation. After I telling Jess story of Florica, story of my cultures, the gloom waves over us. In an attempt to escape their problems, the two run away, and in the process they doom their romance indefinitely, as Jess and Niku's problems stem from the societal, cultural, and familial pressures of the modern world. The text is shaped by the surrounding aspects of the lovers' lives. However, in Browning's poem, the Duke and the late Duchess are more influenced by their roles and positions in societal classes, rather than the added challenges of culture and family faced by Jess and Niku. This represents how the theme of doomed romance has changed throughout time.
No, never fall again, no.